Welcome to the Erie Wellness Podcast, your go-to source for all things health, wellness, and living your best life right here in Erie. I'm your host, Lauren Brunetti, and I'm so excited to have you here. Each episode will dive into conversations with local experts and wellness professionals who are making an impact in the world of health and well-being. Before we jump in, be sure to like, share, and comment on this episode. We love hearing from you and seeing our community grow. Now let's get started. Hey friends, and welcome back to the Erie Wellness Podcast. I'm so excited about today's guest because not only is she doing amazing things here in our town, but the two of us went to the same high school many years ago. Lindsay is the founder of Lottie Lane, the beautiful home decor shop right in the heart of downtown Erie. If you've ever been in, you know how special it feels. I seriously love walking into your shop, Lindsay. It's warm, inspiring, and full of pieces that make you want to cozy up in your whole house. Lindsay has been helping people find homes since 2009, starting as a Denver area realtor and now bringing her love of design and community into everything she does. She's also a member of the Erie Economic Development Council and always seems to be planning something creative or community focused. Lindsay, welcome to the podcast. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be on your show.
Lindsay, can you tell us a little bit about Lottie Lane and what inspired you to start this business?
As you mentioned earlier, so I have been a realtor since 2009, and I have seen lots of houses, and I've had lots of different conversations with people just about home and what makes a home so special, not only from like an investment real estate standpoint, but also just from like, like this is where you live, this is where all your memories are. So I always kind of saw this need, and I loved design. I have no background in design, but I've always loved interior design and just being able to create spaces that I love. So to me, it was a fun opportunity to be able to put everything together. And honestly, I love, like when I travel, I love seeking out small boutiques. I love finding the local coffee shops. So for me, it was really putting all of those loves together into one space so people could, they could look for gifts. They could come in and get inspiration on how to design their own home. But honestly, just being part of our little downtown and having a storefront, as Erie grows and Erie starting to really come into its own, I thought it was really important and really fun to just be a part of what's happening and be involved in the community and help people really try to find unique pieces for their home that they may not be able to find everywhere else.
Well, I love the inside of your store. I find this warm, cozy feeling every single time I'm in it. So whatever you're doing and however you choose things inside your store, it does really put off this like nourishing environment, I guess.
Thank you. Yeah.
The reason why I wanted to have you on the podcast is because our environment plays a huge component as to how we feel and how we operate throughout our day. And like, what are some small things we can be doing to just creating this environment that we really love to be in. And I love that you also said, it's choosing pieces specifically that make you feel good and being intentional with them. So like when you
Yes.
go out and you're on vacation and you like find something that's really special and the little pieces inside your house kind of tell a story as well.
Yes. Yeah. I think we're overwhelmed with a lot of information and a lot, from Pinterest to social media. And there's so many things kind of going on in our world. I think it's really fun to be intentional about what makes your home speak to you, what are pieces that you really enjoy and love. It's like it brings you back to what brings you joy and happiness. And sometimes less is more, or sometimes being able to find pieces. One of the reasons I started the store too is so that I could really source unique and different products that you may not be able, or you may not find in the big box stores. When I go to the wholesale market, there are literally thousands and thousands of vendors and products, and you could spend days going through all these showrooms. So really what I bring back to the store is curated pieces that I love, that I can see in other people's homes, but I always try to make sure things have a theme too, so it's like the pillow that goes with the tea towel, it goes with the picture frame. There's like a general theme. But really it's like unique pieces, things that bring you happiness, things that you love. I think too, there's something to be said about the internet's so easy. You can go on, you can click a button and it ships directly to your home. But I think really being intentional about actually looking at the product and seeing it, I have mostly women who shop online for Lottie Lane. They save their cart and then they come into the store and they're like, okay, here's my online cart. I really want to see these products in person. And a lot of time it's, they love it and they get it, but sometimes it's, oh, I thought that product was bigger, or I thought that product was a different color. But I think really getting back to physically touching products and
Mhm.
seeing, making sure you love it and not just getting it to get it.
Right, and, with Amazon, it's so easy. It'll be, like, here instantly, it'll be here
Yes.
overnight, but is it really a piece that you're gonna be, like, absolutely in love with, or is it just
Yes.
something you're just filling the space because you feel like it needs something right there?
Absolutely. I just think there's, your home is like your sanctuary and it's your safe place and it's something that truly is a reflection of you and your family. So it's like, how can you find those unique pieces that really speak to you, or you find something and you're like, oh, I know exactly where that can go, or just being more intentional with your shopping and creating a space in your home that just reflects you and something that you love.
Mhm. What role does our home environment play in how we feel every day? Or what do you hope that with the pieces inside your shop, like, how are people feeling when they have them inside their homes?
I I know for me personally, when I have like I'm looking around my office, when I have a space that is put together, and by put together, I don't mean it has to be fully touched by a designer, every wall, every space, but I think it's again like creating those moments within your office. So like I have a chair with a little lamp next to it. And I have found that this space has become one of my favorite places to, if I need to get caught up on email, or if I want to sip my coffee and just kind of have a little moment to myself. I
Mhm.
love coming into my office and coming into that space. So I think having a space that's like, I say organized, but just not stuff everywhere. Or, if you're in the midst of projects, if you have all these projects going on, you just feel like things are kind of, disheveled in your home. And so I'm really big on, don't get overwhelmed with the big picture. If you just need to start small, if you need to start with your office, if you need to start with a bedroom,
Mhm.
start small and really create a space that you love and not get overwhelmed with having to redo everything in your home. But I think our spaces make a huge difference on our attitude, on our mood, on our behavior. I'm not a minimalist by any means, but I'm not like I don't have a lot of things either. So for me, it's just trying to find that balance of things that I love, things that mean a lot to me, but also too like that stuff evolves. It's okay to, you had this whole setup and you loved it 5 years ago. It brought you so much joy, and now you're kind of like, doesn't really speak to me anymore. So I think it's okay to be able to
Mhm.
change your style and change, how you do a space. Because I think that's just really important. Because again, it's a space that you're in all the time.
Mhm.
So really trying to create something that means a lot to you, I think is really important.
Well, we've been coming up on 10 years of being in our current house, and, where I started to look at things and I'm like, I've lost, like, I
Yes.
loved when we moved in because we bought all new furniture and, like,
Yep.
everything was brand new, and, like, that just really spoke to me at that point, but now it's been 10 years and I'm like, "Oh, I'm ready to, like, upgrade and, like, switch things
Yes.
around and make it look different," so I can
Well,
totally relate there.
I even found like at the store. So we'll get new arrivals and I'll put stuff out and I'll kind of fit it in with other stuff. But then if I go into the store and I'll take a day and I'll take everything off, that we have that middle table right there. I'll take everything off that table, or I'll take everything off the kitchen area. And I just redo it, and a lot of
Mhm.
times it's just using the products that we have. Obviously, I have some new stuff that comes in, but to me, I feel like that really helps reset a space too. Like instead of trying to just fit things in because they're new or because you feel like you have to add something, like really get intentional with your space and clear it off. You may not have a day to do that, but bookshelves in my office, I've been known to do that every few months. I'll just take everything off my shelves, rearrange, and once I rearranged, I'm like, okay, that feels so much better. So I think it's okay to evolve your style. I
Mhm.
mean, my style, believe it or not, was not honed in. I feel like I'm almost 40, and I'm finally feeling like, yes, I found my style. But again, that's changing too. And I think that's okay to change your themes, change your style in your home, and be okay with adding in new things and not just keeping the pillows because you've had those pillows for 10 years,
Mhm.
just creating a space that speaks to you.
Right. You see the growth along the way. I even feel
Yes.
like that with my wardrobe. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh,
Oh,
thank
yes.
goodness, it's getting so much better." I'm not, like, filling it with, like, Target T-shirts and stuff like
Right.
that.
Well, I think it's like investing in, timeless pieces that, again, you may not love in 5 years, but right now it's something that really speaks to you. And it could be something that kind of flows with you, in your style too.
Mhm. How do you choose the pieces or collections for your shop?
Literally, it's pieces that I would have in my own home. I mentioned earlier going to market. Market is so overwhelming, but so fun.
What
Because
is market like? Is it in person? Is that
yes,
what?
so
Okay.
market, it's a wholesale market. There are 3 big ones, so Vegas, Dallas, and Atlanta,
Mhm.
and they happen 3 times a year, and you can go, and the whole idea is you can see products in person without having to buy them all online. You get to meet your vendors, but it's a good way to just be able to see everything, um, in person. So when I go, the products I pick out, I always try to have a theme in my head. Sometimes it's holidays,
Mhm.
sometimes it's a summer collection, but I always try to have a theme in my head because I want, if you come into Lottie Lane, all of the products go together. So if you were to buy just 1 or 2 things, they go together. So again, when I'm sourcing products, it's stuff that I love, things that I think other people will love in their home too. It's unique and different. And just creating these collections that you don't have to worry about what matches and what doesn't match because Lottie Lane, everything matches.
Mhm.
So it's really, you come in, you can buy 1 pillow or a coffee mug or a tea towel, but it's all going to be the general theme, and style that go together. So really taking out, or I guess adding in that ease so people don't have to think too much about what goes together and what doesn't, just kind of creating these pieces and collections, knowing everything does go together.
Mhm. Yes, you're not, like, gonna choose a pillow that's not gonna go with this book
Right.
or the picture frame that you have there or something like that.
Yes. And for those of you who have been in Lottie Lane, it's a very, distinct palette. It's very neutral, whites, tans, grays. I do have some blues and some greens. I have some color in there now, so I'm trying to branch out a little bit. But again, everything goes together. It's very cohesive, and I think, that's something you can do in your house too. If you're doing certain rooms and you're taking your time kind of going and doing these projects, I think if you have an overall theme for your home,
Mhm.
whether that's a color theme or something, and then just kind of making each room its own style and uniqueness, I think that's what makes it so fun.
If someone feels stuck or uninspired in their home, where would you tell them to start?
Stuck or uninspired? I think paint. I think paint is such an easy and fun way and therapeutic thing to do.
Mhm.
Paint your space. I love artwork. I love, whether it's a picture that you put up on the wall or you have a frame and you just change out a picture. I think artwork's a really easy and fun way to add character.
Mhm.
Pillows. I love pillows, like probably too much. But
Do you
pillows,
have, like, a pillow bin for
oh,
all the
I've got so many
seasonal
pillows.
stuff?
I think pillows you can get funky and wild with pillows, and it's not a huge commitment. It's not, wallpaper that you've chosen or custom drapery. Pillows are a fun way to change up a space. I have a collection in my basement, and I'll sometimes just go out and pull different ones.
Mhm.
So I think that's a fun way. And like a lamp, like a new lamp or a new, tray. Again, it doesn't have to be huge. You don't have to invest a ton of money into this. It can be 1 or 2 small
Mhm.
pieces. I just bought from the store. We have these scallop plates, and I had this plant that I killed, but my mom brought it back for me. So that's a big deal. But I wanted a cute little plate to just put the plant on. And so
Mhm.
I got one of our scallop plates from the store. But I love it. I love that it, has its own little moment. So again, it doesn't have to be big, can be something kind of small, but just 1 or 2 things, like the pillows, the artwork, a lamp. Those are just fun ways to add something new.
And I've heard with like lighting too, like lamps create this cozy environment versus turning on all of your overhead lights,
Oh, yes.
and making it feel, just really bright and kind of harsh, like
Yeah.
if you kinda want this cozy feeling, like lights can be amazing for that.
I have so many lamps with timers on, and they come on at like 6 o'clock at night. And it's
Mhm.
one of my favorite times of the day in my home because it's not quite dark out. All of the big lights are off. It's just the softness of the lamps. I'm a huge fan of that. I think and again, you can change out lamps are an easy thing to change out depending on style, depending on season.
Mhm.
I think a lamp is a fun way to make a statement in a room too.
What are some ways that people can also just create a more joyful or nourishing space without a big budget? Like, just, like, little things, maybe, like, between 20 and $50 kind of items.
Um, Again, paint. Paint is a
Mhm,
fun way to change a space. I think even using what you have in your home and what I talked about earlier with creating a moment in a room. Like if you added a chair from, you take a chair from a different room and add it to your bedroom, or you
mhm,
switch out your lamps. Artwork, that's an easy way. A new frame for that kind of stuff. Those are all kind of low-hanging fruit. A candle. A
mhm,
candle's a fun way, to add, depending on the season. You can get one that's a seasonal scent, or you can just get a new one. I love burning candles in my own home.
mhm,
So I think there's and like that tray I talked about earlier too. I think you can do something small, doesn't cost a lot of money, but adds a big impact to a space. So using something that you have, or something small like artwork, a little trinket dish, a basket, um, coffee mugs. Coffee mugs are huge at the store, and people are telling me stories all the time about how, I have 25 coffee mugs, but this new coffee mug really spoke to me and I was really excited. So I think coffee mugs are a fun way too, if it's something that you use every day.
mhm. Do you thrift, or when you're going on vacation, like, do you kind of already have an idea of, like, what kind of pieces you'd be interested in buying?
I'm starting to thrift more. I'm actually getting more into that. I think having some kind of vintage or unique old piece in like one thing in every room, I think is really
Mhm,
fun. I know that's hard to strive for some, and I think thrifting can get overwhelming too. But I love pieces that tell a story. So if I just bought this artwork. It's not vintage. It's something that I found at an art fair, but I got the whole story of why the artist chose to paint this certain image. And I
mhm.
love that. I love the story of it. So again, finding products that, speak to you, or thrifting more, just to add that vintage flair. I think that's something that's so fun.
I have a couple people in my family that are really good about, like, refurbishing old things from grandparents or
Yes.
things like that too, and I think that that's really fun and can kind of tell a story too, and it's something that is in your family, so that's special too.
Yes, we have a dresser at the store, and believe it or not, it was bright teal. I did
Mhm,
have something bright teal in my home about 10 years ago. It was my daughter's first dresser. And I loved the dresser, but I grew to not like teal as much. So I didn't know what to do with it. So I reached out to actually local lady Angie here in Erie and asked if she
mhm.
could paint it. And she painted it this beautiful gray blue color and put new knobs on it. And then I put it at the store. I get so many people wanting to buy this dresser. Uh,
Is it Angie Nordstrom?
yes,
Yes,
Angie.
okay. She's
No,
the one who
no,
did.
the
Oh,
other Angie.
okay, Osborne.
Yes,
Maybe okay,
Osborne.
yes,
Yes, I know
okay.
we have 2 great Angies in town that are incredible artists.
Mhm.
But no, it's Angie Osborne, and she painted it, and it is like one of the hottest items in the store that I cannot get rid of because I just can't part with it. But again, it's a piece that I had forever, and I wasn't quite ready to let it go, but I knew it wasn't, teal wasn't, in my current obsession.
Mhm.
So painting it and bringing back to life was really something fun. So that's been fun, and to have that conversation with people at the store. I literally have a list of like 4 or 5 people who want that dresser when I'm ready to sell it. So I think it's a
Watch
fun
you hold
way and
on to
unique
it
way.
though, and your daughter will go to college, and you'll be like, "Oh, that was her dresser," and
"Oh, it's a
she
dresser."
held on to it.
And then my husband's like, "It's okay." Like, and I'm like, "No, no, no, nope, holding on to it." So it'll be fun. I mean, but I think stuff like that, I'm starting to, my mom has a bunch of antiques, and I've always
Mhm.
been like, "No, no, no." But now I'm really starting to find myself like, "Hey, what about that piece?" And, so trying to add more of that vintage, and repurposed flair, I think is also important too.
Mhm. An opportunity for us to stretch our creativity
Yes.
genes. We hinted on this before, but, like, what do you think is the connection between creativity and wellness when it comes to, doing home improvement kinda things? Do you feel like it stretches you and you have your creativity gene has been more expressed as you've been diving further down this career
Yes.
path?
I do, and I think I've really honed in on, a style that
Mhm.
not only I love, but that my family loves. I think it's one thing, like, I love their opinions, and I love my kids want to redo their rooms so badly, and the part of me that wants it to be a perfectly curated space that's Pinterest worthy has kind of gone out the door, because I think creating, again, a space that you love. I don't sleep in my kids' rooms. My daughter, she wants to do certain things, and my son's a huge Chiefs fan, and he would love his room bright red with Kansas City Chiefs logos everywhere.
Mhm.
But I think that's really important, again, that you get to have a space that you love and something that inspires you. Something. I love to go on walks. That's kind of my release from, I'll take my phone, I'll listen to a podcast, or I'll listen to some music. But going on a walk really kind of regenerates my creativity. And I feel like it
Mhm.
allows me to kind of do a brain dump, as I'm out there walking and listening. But I feel like creativity and wellness really go hand in hand. And, having a home that, again, is not perfectly curated every inch, but a space that really speaks to you and reflects you and your family, and a clean, put together, projects done, type of thing. I think all of that stuff goes so hand in hand. I know for me personally, if my office is a mess, I feel like I get kind of, so if I take 30
Mhm.
minutes to put stuff away, make sure things feel and look good, I feel like I'm more productive, and I just feel better, with what I'm doing. So I think they're so connected, and I think it's so important.
Right, that creativity and flow can finally
Yes.
release once you know that these other areas of your house are kind of picked up. I do the same
Yes.
thing, and it's hard working from home too. I'm like,
Oh,
"Oh,
yes.
I can just think about the things that are going on downstairs."
I know.
But when I go and I address them, and then I come up and I know everything's, like,
Yeah.
back together, I'm like, "Oh, okay, now I can start working."
I take a few minutes out of every day, and I have to walk by my kids, the loft, to go to, our bedroom. And
Mhm.
sometimes I will just take 10 minutes when they're at school and I'll put things. I love bins. I love trays. I love, it's like it makes it look put together, and styled essentially, but it's not.
Mhm.
So I'll take the few minutes and I'll put stuff in bins, or I'll, clean off the counters in the kitchen to make sure. So it's like I feel like I'm doing little stuff throughout the day instead of saving it for one big event. And for me
Mhm.
personally, I've just found that so helpful. Again, having a space that's clean and stuff is put away. Not that that happens all the time, but I know I just feel better knowing that those spaces are cleaned.
Mhm. Do you ever think about the seasons of a home? And we can talk about like seasonals like every, year, Valentine's Day, Christmas, things like that, but also seasons that change like as our kids get older and, just go through different seasons of life. But how can we embrace these seasonal changes in our space to support how we feel? Maybe let's talk about holidays first and then we can transition into seasonal changes of our lives.
So holidays specifically, I found myself decorating less and less each year for holidays.
Mhm.
And for me, that's just the phase of life I'm in. I need like a minimal. I want something to look unique and special, and that I put some effort in, but I don't need so much. And again, that's definitely something that's transitioned over the years.
Mhm. I'm
Um,
curious, like, how many bins do you have for, like, Christmas or, like,
Christmas, we've pared down
Thanksgiving?
to like 4,
Okay.
which now we our tree stays up. We just put it in the basement. Like
That's what
we
we do, we leave it up in our basement. I'm
great.
like, "We're not."
Yeah, no, I'm not putting that away. But
It's
even
just an
our oak.
evergreen in our basement, it's
Yeah,
fine.
I know, just like, just don't touch that corner. Um, we have, like, 4 or 5 bins, and it's, some stockings, it's some intentional decor, it's not over the top, but I'll see some for Christmas, for instance, I'll see some people in their house decorated for Christmas over the top, and part of me is like, "That does look kind of fun, but it also looks a little overwhelming."
Mhm.
So I'm just in this phase of my life with everything we have going on. We have lots of things happening. I'm just really craving pieces that I love, and it's
Mhm.
not a ton of things, but it's special, and my kids enjoy it too. So we're really leaning into that. I used to decorate for every holiday. I don't decorate. Sometimes I'll put up a little garland. Sometimes, again, I'll change out a picture in a picture frame to kind of reflect that season.
Mhm.
Pillows, again, pillows. That's an easy and fun way to change it up with the seasons. So I think, again, just being intentional about it. And, you may be in a phase where you have that time and you have that energy where you want to do a lot. But that's
Mhm.
just not the phase I'm in. So I want it to be special. I want it to be something fun for my family and something they look forward to. But I also don't want it to be stressful and overwhelming, because I don't have time for that right now.
Mhm. So,
So
listeners, this is
yeah.
coming from a home decorator. Like, if it's
Yes.
stressing you out, don't,
Don't do it.
yes, don't do it. Just bring out the, like, pieces that you really enjoy. And
Yes.
yeah, I
And
know.
again, I think it's easy. Social media tells us we have to be over the top and we have to have these giant creations in our home. And I just lean into if it's stressful or if it doesn't feel like it's fun or brings me joy, then I move on. So I decorate, I do it. I have some unique pieces I bring out every year. Some are vintage, some are repurposed.
Mhm.
And that's kind of the phase I'm in. Who knows? That may change down the road. But same with seasons, with kids. Like my kids are getting older now, where I feel like I can have some nicer things out, and I can
Mhm.
have a nicer couch, and I don't have to worry about things spilling. But also, if things do spill, that's life, and that's what it's like with having kids. So I think it's fun to kind of decorate your home and go through these seasons kind of depending. I had a friend say she really wanted to decorate her home, but her kids are a little bit older, but her family has lots of little kids. And she was afraid to host because she's like, I've put out these nice things and now these
Mhm.
other, family members and younger kids are coming over. And I think to that, it's like that's kind of just that's life. I would rather, I love people coming over and engaging and being around, and I don't want my house to be too stuffy that I do get nervous about something breaking.
Mhm.
But again, having older kids and being able to do more decorative things that I wasn't able to do, 6 or 7 years ago, is also a lot of fun too. So it's fun just kind of living in that season. Our next project is our mudroom because the amount of sports
Mhm.
and papers and schoolwork and stuff, we really need a space that we can organize all that. So that's kind of our season right now. So that's something up on our list is to redo the mudroom because that's just something that we really need.
Are you gonna do the cubbies? What is it gonna look like?
We're gonna do we have the nook where you come in through the garage and then there's a desk. And
Mhm.
the desk literally it's become a place that we just throw like junk. Like we don't ever use the desk as
Purse, keys,
yes,
mail,
as
kid
intended.
stuff.
So we'd love to be able because it's right off our kitchen. So it's a multi-purpose room for us. So we'd love to we're gonna build lockers. We're going to take out a closet and make it like almost like a butler's pantry, like put an
Mhm.
extra countertop space for our coffee maker. But again, it's creating a space that we will use every day.
Mhm.
That's something really intentional for our family. We've been in our home for 5 years, and it took us about 5 years to figure out how we really wanted to use that space. So it's exciting that we get to, customize a room and make it something uniquely ours
Mhm.
because that's how we live in the house. So,
So have you been Pinteresting? How do
oh
you, like,
yes.
figure out what you're gonna do?
Pinterest, I think what's hard is I help other people make design decisions, but when it comes to my own home, I struggle so much because it's almost like analysis paralysis. Like so many ideas, so many things I want to do.
Mhm.
Um, but that's also something I tell people too, like because you move into a new home doesn't mean you have to do all your projects right away. Like I'm a huge believer in living in your home, living in your space, and really seeing how you live and how
Mhm.
spaces feel to you. So again, it's taken us 5 years to figure out how we really wanted to do this mudroom, and that's okay. It's not a well-styled space and there's junk everywhere. Yes, the local home decor shop owner who thrives on pretty spaces has a very messy mudroom. But I'm excited that we're going to make it a space that we just will cater to our family and be something really unique and fun.
Mhm. Being a realtor, what would you tell to people that are hesitant about doing those home upgrades, like redoing your mudroom? Like, it'll be a couple $1,000s, I'm sure,
Mhm.
but is it definitely worth the investment? Not
Absolutely.
only for yourself, but also when you turn around and sell it as well.
My parents moved around a lot when we were kids, and my parents never painted. They never did anything in a house because they were always so worried about resale value, and they wanted just like clean and the house they've been in now for 20 plus years, once they started painting it, they were like, oh my gosh, why didn't we do this sooner? So I do think making those intentional upgrades to a home is important. Built-ins are always good.
Mhm.
You don't want to, if you've got like bright pink cabinets or green cabinets, it may be something you want to consider as like a very personalized upgrade that some buyers may not like. But I think you have to make a home, you have to make it uniquely yours.
Mhm.
That's what stagers are for. That's what, you go to sell your home and you have those bright pink cabinets. We can talk about options, but
Mhm.
But I think creating unique spaces, different spaces, getting creative with nooks and,
Like
we have a nook in
built-ins, I think too.
yes.
Mhm.
We have a nook in our dining room, that I'm still not quite sure what the builder was thinking when they did this nook because it's not that deep, um, and we ended up making it a bar area. So my husband custom built a bar top, and we did some cabinetry, and so
Mhm.
now we have this weird, awkward nook that we turned into something really fun and cool, and again, that's how our family saw that space as unique and different. So, it's creating a space that you love, it's getting creative and utilizing those little nooks, those little spaces, kind of thinking outside the box with that type of stuff. And
Mhm.
yeah, you always want to kind of consider resale value down the road too, and how that would shape your investment.
What's one thing you've added to your home lately that brings you joy outside of that little plate that you bought for your plant?
We're adding to our landscaping, which I am so excited about. We have
Mhm.
a little garden area, so we're adding to that. But really, it's our mudroom project that we have coming up. I just bought at the store. We have this huge wooden hanger, and I've loved it from day one. And I
Mhm.
finally bought it for myself, and that will go in our mudroom project. But we're gonna hang it up, and we're gonna put pots and pans on there, and we have a lot of charcuterie boards. My husband made a couple of those. But
Mhm.
it's being able to display pieces that again mean something to us. Um, and
Will it
I
be in, like, closed doors where you'll display it up top or
It's like on a wall when you first come in through our you can see it from the kitchen, but we walk by it every day. But I have all these charcuterie boards. Some are
Mhm.
vintage, some are very old, and some are new from the store. But we use them all the time, and I just have them tucked away in my pantry. So I think being able to create a moment of like, we use these boards and they're beautiful and they're not all perfect and they're not new. But I think that adds some artwork to a space too.
Mhm.
So we have that. And then I'm really leaning into entertaining stuff. So like tea towels, and we have this really pretty, it's a scalloped dish tray, I guess, that I just bought for myself too, because I love to make like little moments extra special. So
Mhm.
even for the kids making a charcuterie board or something like a snack board, I'll put it on the pretty scallop tray because it just feels special to me. So I think it's just making those moments special. I at the store, I love when things are functional and pretty. So I love that you can use them. I love that it's something that can be part of your day to day, but it's also really pretty and really unique and really special. So leaning into that for our house too.
And one thing that I also wanted to bring up as well is you do custom curtains, correct?
We do. So we do custom drapery and custom window blinds. And that has been, not on our radar 2 years ago. And we were kind of presented this opportunity that has turned into something so fun. So blinds and drapery are such a fun way to make your space stand out and make it unique and different. What we do is we bring in that design element. So we have all these fabric options, different products, but we really look at it from a design standpoint, not just a functionality standpoint.
Mhm.
And it really is a fun way to make to make a room stand out and look unique and special. So yes, the custom drapery and the blinds have been really fun.
As well as the candle company. How did that fall into your lap?
I don't know. It's we started the store. Um, the tagline for us is all things home, and like we're,
Mhm.
we're taking that literally. It's the store, it's the products, it's custom drapery, it's blinds, it's candles in your home. The goal is to be able to add some more design services down the road because we get asked that all the time. But the candles have been so fun. It was a really long story short. We bought an existing company. They were one of our top sellers at the store. And again, this opportunity kind of presented itself that we had no idea was even on our radar. But it's been fun and little insider exclusive. We're working on a whole candle line that's Erie based. So,
Mm.
we'll have a Lottie Lane candle, we'll have an Erie candle. I'd love to have like a farmer's market candle, or so we're hoping to have a whole collection of candles that are just Erie related, to make it something, special and unique for our town.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yes, we're
Exciting.
excited.
Like, start dreaming up all these, like, little ideas and things.
Yes. Well,
Where do you make
something
the candles?
we make them in our basement.
Oh, okay.
We have a whole setup.
Can you bring
Big
in your, like, used candles then, or do you not do that?
Not yet. We're
Okay.
trying to figure out how to be able to do that. People really want us to do candle making classes.
Mhm.
Classes are huge at the store.
Right, share you've had a couple of them. What have they been?
We have the classes are so fun, and it's something again that we just started adding in some classes just to see, and our classes are one of our most popular things at the store. Um, you know, we're I've been very vocal about this, but we want a different location. We've
I told
loved.
you that house, you should, like,
Yeah, oh my gosh, I
look at some
know.
of those, like, old cool houses.
Yes, there's so many things we wanna do with Lottie Lane, and we've learned so much. We're going on year 3 at the store. So we've learned so much from our customers and just hearing what people like, what they want, what they wanna see more of.
Mhm.
We were really focused on like, "Oh, we need a bigger store. We need," but I think a new location for us is, something that's a bit more, like more into the community. It's like people walking by, having a space where we can do more events, we can do candle making classes.
Mhm.
Because really, Lottie Lane has become a community centered store. And, it's so fun because more times than not, there will be people shopping in there and they'll run into their neighbor or they'll run into the local school teacher, or their kid's coach. And I love that. I love that our store has become this gathering place, within the community.
Mhm.
So big plans for Lottie Lane. A phase 2 would be, in Erie, but something like a unique space that allows us to be able to grow, intentionally and have a space where we can do more events and make candles.
Mhm. You're not making them in your basement anymore.
Not
I
making
love
it.
that. I was expecting somewhere else, but when you said
Oh,
your basement, I'm like, "Oh, I love that."
I mean,
Small
our
business
house.
owners, you make it work.
Yes, and our house smells so good all the time, because we have all these, we use clean, healthy products. In our
Mhm.
candles, there are no parabens, no toxins, no any of that. So, which is really important to us, in creating a space and like a healthy home. But yeah, candles are made in our basement, and hopefully one day we'll have like I want to call it the candle cottage, like have a
Okay.
cottage where we can, have the classes and sell the candles and do all that.
Mhm. Awesome. And finally, what does it mean for you to be a small business owner right here in Erie? What has this community meant to your journey?
The community has meant everything, and I hope I don't tear up, but,
Mhm.
the being being a business owner in a small town comes with its own challenges, but the community, I mean, it's crazy the support we get from people. I love being included in people's, like, life milestones and memories, and, I'll have people come in and they're like, "My mom just came into town and Lottie Lane was the first stop we had to come to."
Mhm.
So the community really, it's huge. And, I go to the grocery store and I run into our customers all the time, which I think is so fun. And so I think it's just, again, creating this space that, yes, it's home decor, but for me personally, it's just turned into so much more. It's turned into a space where people come in and chit chat and you hear the local gossip, and, you get to meet family members and you get to see people through their milestones. There's a woman who came in and her daughter's name was Lottie.
Mhm.
And, so sharing that story, another couple found us online. They were in Denver, and their daughter, her name is Lottie Lane, Charlotte Lane, but they call her Lottie Lane. And so they
Mhm.
came up to the store just because they were like, we had to see Lottie Lane in person. So, it's been so fun and so incredible to be a part of the community and the support we get. It's something that I will like forever cherish. And I think it's just so special. And I think it gives us, people want our town to thrive and they want those unique little retail stores and restaurants and moments to be able to bring family members to. So, really leaning into creating a space that we can be even more involved within the community.
Mhm. Oh, what a gift.
Yes, such a gift. We're so blessed. We're so thankful.
But that got me thinking, so how did you come up with the store name Lottie Lane?
Okay, so I was doing some research on Erie, and I really
Mhm.
wanted it to be Erie focused. And I'm kind of a history geek. Like I love learning about history, and I love, again, knowing a story to a product or a story. So anyway, the research we kept coming up with, Charlotte and her husband James, and they were kind of one of the founding families of Erie.
Mm.
Charlotte was called Lottie for short.
Mhm.
And all the research I kept doing, I kept coming back to her, but she was the town socialite. was really involved in the school system. Her siblings, I think her sister was a teacher at a school in Erie. And so she was really well known and well respected. Her husband, James, built a lot of the houses that are actually still standing in downtown Erie. Their house was over on Holbrook Street. So I love that there was that house perspective in there. And then James, Charlotte or Lottie's husband, was a firefighter, or owned a local fire hose company. And my husband's a firefighter. So I kept, seeing all these ties. And anyway, and I thought the name Lottie was just adorable. So Lottie Lane, just because Lane went with Lottie. I joke that I just would love a whole street and just have all these cute little stores, have my own lane. So I love, in fact, we worked with, Erie has a historian, James Stoll, and he actually wrote a whole article about Lottie and James. And then, so we have it up at the store. So right by the door, there's this poster size print of the story of how we came up with the name Lottie Lane. So anyway, all of that in a poster, but it's fun. And I love
That is so cool.
Yeah. I hope one day to meet a family member of Lottie or James. But I love that history, and I love that the ties are tied to Erie.
Oh, well, so cool. I love that. Next time your shop comes up, I'll be like, did you know that?
Did you know? It's a historical figure in Erie.
Well, Lindsay, thank you so much for being here today. I loved hearing your story and getting a peek behind the scenes at how Lottie Lane came to life. You are creating something really special, not just a shop, but a space where people can feel at home and inspired. If you haven't been to Lottie Lane yet, definitely make time to stop in. It's one of those places where you walk in for a candle and leave with a handful of things you didn't know you needed, but now you can't live without. Thanks again, Lindsay. You've been such a joy having you on. And to everyone listening, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, stay well, Erie.
Thank you.
That's a wrap for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening to the Erie Wellness Podcast. I truly appreciate you being a part of this journey. If you loved today's conversation, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend. For more daily wellness inspiration and behind-the-scenes content, be sure to follow me on Instagram at the Erie Wellness Podcast. I can't wait to connect with you again soon.